So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Wild Wasteland. As always, I'm Dean Maldonado. This is the flabbergasted Michael Johnson. Yeah, we were talking about fairies and the library.
Yeah, you were trying to look for fairies in a place that nobody goes to, and you couldn't find fairies, and now, like...
Honestly, that's the best place to find fairies. Is like undisturbed places where there's only homeless people sleeping.
Only homeless people sleeping and masturbating.
Under bridges, libraries, 7-Elevens, subway, 24-hour subways at 3 in the morning.
The Red Line, yeah.
Yeah. Any car of the Red Line.
Oh, my God. So many cars in the Red Line. Just homeless apartments. I would do the Blue Line.
Cheap
because
rent,
it's a little bit fancier. Is the Blue Line 24 hours? I don't even know. Has to be.
Should be.
It goes to the airport.
Goes
to the airport.
Yeah. But so I found a very large section on witches.
Oh, we're talking about witches?
Yeah.
You know what I always say? Witches get stitches.
Oh, God. Can we please cut that terrible joke?
I'm going to say it twice. I might say it a third time. You know what I always say? Witches, they get stitches, huh? Just like snitches, bitches.
Oh,
Oh.
All right, so let's actually talk about witchcraft and
What's
witches.
the deal with witches? Do they cast magic? Do they not cast magic?
Do they have 2 slices of bread? So most people who are interested in witchcraft, you know, like...
are nerds like you and me?
Well, because when I brought this up to you, you went on a fucking 30-minute phone rant about these women today who say they're Wiccans and they do their spiritual rites, and you think it's all just for attention.
Yeah. It's of course that's what everyone on Instagram. There's 85 million Wiccans now on Instagram.
Yeah, well, it's because really the majority of people who know about witches, they know about it from pop culture.
Yeah, and that's all they know it from, and they don't think that they're interesting.
We got what? We got Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Pretty cool show.
We got Wizards of Waverly Place.
Never seen it.
We got Harry Potter.
You know this all off your head.
We got the Blair Witch Project.
At anything.
We got...
that was a pretty good movie.
We got that indie film from 2 years ago, The Witch.
Oh, The Vivitch?
Yeah, The Vivitch. The Witch. We have...
Wait, I was kind of confused. Was the goat the devil the whole time?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the goat was the devil the whole time. If you watch the movie again,
spoiler.
Still won't tell you.
It's like...
Don't worry. You watch the goat... You
watch the goat?
Watch the goat the whole movie. It will ruin the whole thing for you because you're just going to be staring at a goat for the entirety of the movie.
There was also Heredity.
Oh, don't tell me about that. It's on my next to watch.
Well, it deals with witchcraft.
Okay. I'm down.
I'm not going to spoil anything else. It's a very good movie. Anyone listening, if you're a horror fan, probably the best movie of 2018 or 2017. I forget when it came out.
Okay. I mean, I'm down. I'm about to watch it probably tonight. But and then you also have the less white witchcraft like voodoo.
The voodoo.
The voodoo, which is there's a wonderful movie on voodoo called The Serpent and the Rainbow.
This is on Vudu?
Yeah, it's on Vudu.
Is this like a new streaming service?
No. It was a movie with what's the name of the guy who plays Harvey Dent?
Oh.
I can never remember his name because he looks so much like Dennis Quaid, and he's not Dennis Quaid.
Oh, are you talking about the 2007 Harvey Dent?
Yeah. It's the 2011 Harvey Dent, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought for a second I thought you were
not like the old Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, Tim Burton.
Yeah, no, not Tommy Lee Jones. I can remember his name.
Yeah, he that was the guy that played Lando Calrissian from Star Wars. He played Harvey Dent in the Tim Burton.
Yeah, you're entirely
Batman.
Incorrect. But either way, basically he's a reporter who's going down to find out about voodoo in Louisiana, and there's this,
Harvey Dent.
There's like a dust that they call it a zombie dust, and they blow it in your face and you die.
Oh.
Your body shows all signs of death. So for 48 hours. It just makes you comatose.
Oh,
And
I thought you said cum. Makes you cum.
No, it makes you comatose. And
For
so people
48 hours just gumming.
Well, people kept they kept
the
finding
real
bodies.
the real voodoo dust.
They kept finding bodies with like people whose like fingernails were just like, and fingers were just like ground down to a bone because they would wake up from this dust and they're in a fucking coffin buried in the ground.
Oh man, that's scary. You know they really have that dust down in I forget where, but like it makes you into a zombie.
It's made out of
bone dust from humans, I think.
Well,
right?
so that's what the voodoo dust is. I think what you're thinking of with the zombie dust, because I remember watching it was a like in-depth some weird TNT show. You know, they have so many stupid shows, but it was on the zombies of Mexico, and there's a very rampant, very addictive drug down there that is effectively taking horse tranquilizer and you put it in like a microwave. And you scrape up the crystals, and then they smoke those crystals, and they're like, these people just kind of like stand around, just like swaying back and
just
forth,
waiting for someone to come by and say, "Hey, you want to work in my field for me?" And he's like,
anything,
yeah,
and they just like will go with anything, they'll do anything. They get like hit by cars all the time and shit like that. That stuff's crazy.
Yeah,
but
I heard it was a dust that they could blow into your face, and I was thinking like, if I was ever going to do anything evil, I'd definitely want, like, just a plane. Like, everyone's like, contrails, the chemtrails, those aren't real. I'm like, oh, yeah? I just fly over a whole city, just dumping zombie dust, making everybody just my slave.
That'd be insane.
Like,
if I were a supervillain, though, what I would do is I would use the...
Are you going to be bald supervillain, or, like, what are you going to look like? You going to have an eye patch? You gotta have an eye patch.
I would do eye patch with, like, a scar protruding from it.
Okay, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Like, is your eye fucked up or gone, or, like, you never know?
No one ever knows.
Oh, okay.
They never get to see it. But if they did, they would find out that it's just makeup.
Oh, you're a dick.
I'm such a dick. What I would do is I would honestly... steal a bunch of scientists from around the world and get them to figure out a way to utilize the electromagnetic bands of the Earth to make an Earth-wide EMP.
Oh, and
threaten the planet with an electromagnetic pulse.
That's Escape from L.A.
To fry all electronics in the entire world, because our entire world is sustained on electronics right now. All of the money in the world is electronic. And so if they don't pay me what I need, boom, goodbye technology.
Yeah. You just stole the ending of Escape from L.A. when Snake Plissken...
You know what sucks is I still have not seen that movie. And, like...
He's the inspiration to Snake from Metal Gear Solid. And, like, he was having a conversation with the president, and they're like, all right, Snake, hand over the EMP that would destroy the whole world, or else, we'll kill you. And he's like... Yeah, welcome to the Middle Ages. And he just clicks it, and everything is just like technology is gone. He's just like, fuck you guys. I hate everybody anyway.
That's pretty sick.
And he was the hero. He was the hero from the movie. And he had an eye patch.
Well, I gotta watch it then.
Yeah,
I'll watch that and Heredity tonight. It's gonna be a long night.
That's a weird mix.
It is, but you know what? It's better than normally I like to pair a horror movie with a comedy. My favorite is to watch Eddie Murphy's Nutty Professor after almost any horror movie.
All right, yeah, that's an awful movie. I don't know why you would do that.
It's a fantastic movie. However,
watching two horror movies after a row.
There was one time I paired The Blob with Flubber, and it didn't go so well.
I was just about to say Flubber. That's really weird. Yeah. Like, honestly, like I was thinking Flubber.
It's a great movie. However, you can do the little trick of watching both movies to kind of calm your mind down before you go to sleep by watching one movie, and that is Gremlins, because that's a comedy and a horror movie.
Yeah, it's got certain aspects of comedy, but a little bit of horror too, like that whole kitchen scene where the mom almost gets murdered. Like that was pretty
or like
intense.
when they do like a sweeping shot of all like the actual gremlins like just wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
They're doing some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
They're like raping other gremlins. They're like attacking people. They're like killing children.
Yeah.
And people thought Chucky was bad, But so let's get back to witches, right?
Yeah, fuck all this bullshit. We're getting into some serious stuff today. Witches, the Vavitches, what's going on?
Now, so if you, it's weird because if you go to any kind of bookstore now and you look for witchcraft books, they're all going to be in the section called Mind, Body, and Spirit.
Oh my God! See, this is what I'm saying.
Because it's kind of gotten wrapped in with this like
spirituality. Like ruining. Why does spirituality always have to ruin everything? You know, like I imagine Christianity was really cool up until like everyone's like, well, let's make it spiritual.
Yeah, I don't think it was
Holy
ever
Ghost.
Cool. I think it started with that whole thing. It started with like, hey, we're gonna be dweebs. And like we can only go downhill from here, so let's just like, what about if like 400 years we just like walk around the world and just like kill people because they don't believe in us?
Dude, that's fucking brutal. I like
we'll
that.
Just wear all red and send the Spanish. Nobody can hate the Spanish.
Get those fucking chest rippers, bro.
Surprise, surprise! Most everybody, when they talk about witchcraft, they combine rote knowledge of random myths and legends with facts and fears. And that's really what they believe is what real witchcraft is.
Yeah,
and it's not.
When I think of a witch, I think of a cauldron. You know, I think of the pointy hat, like long nose, buckle on the hat. You got to have a buckle.
Old lady,
like an old lady that doesn't exist anymore. But you know, she's looking in her cauldron like, bubble, bubble. Toil and trouble.
Well, so that's very interesting you bring that up because
Isn't that Macbeth?
Well, because a lot of the idea of like, oh, these massive witch trials, they're all blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
They were very selective, but majority of the time, if you look at the breakdown of who was actually killed by public like witch trial, it was mostly older widows, older spinsters.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's old women who live by themselves. No. And honestly, in my educated brain, I think, well, if you look at it, back then it was most likely. So really a lot of it kind of started going downhill when the European courts abolished this certain principle called talion, which made the accusers face serious penalties if their allegations could not be proven.
Wait, did you just say snitches don't get stitches?
No, it's kind of like the snitches get stitches if they can't prove it, and then they abolished that. And so after that, people couldn't really get stitches for snitching.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And so
no snitches no stitches for snitches makes witches.
Precisely, because then people could be like, "Oh, hey, they're practicing witchcraft," which is very hard to prove.
Yeah,
and
it's like I saw her making a cocktail.
Yeah, it's like, what?
How good was it? It's kind of overpriced. She's a witch.
She's a witch. She was speaking her mind.
Alchemy.
And that's
living
the big
alone.
thing is that like a lot of the witch trials and the descriptions and like historical thinkers on witches were super sexist.
Oh, yeah.
So like a lot of it is like women are impure. Women are born to be witches.
Yeah.
And once they lose their virginity, they are cut off from their magical being self that they can tap into through their virginity blood.
Yeah.
Like they're super weird about it because they just don't really understand how women work.
Yeah.
They're like, what bleeds and doesn't die must be magical. Like, okay, all right, man. But it's not. The other idea was that it was some big pagan sex cult.
Yes,
that was driven underground by Christians, and that was not true at all. That was not true.
To Anton LaVey, it was all about sex, baby. Yeah, that's what all this weird shit's always about, getting some sex.
Well, so there were a lot of different, I guess you could say, reasons for people to blame others as being witches.
Yeah.
A lot of it started in the 16th century, which was originally people thought it was like a Middle Ages thing. It actually turns out they found out in like the 1530s that the majority of the documents that were showing witch trials and burnings that were earlier than that were falsified documents, basically to make the people of the time believe that what they were doing was not a new thing.
Oh wow, falsifying history. He sounds familiar. Obama.
All right, you right-wing fuck. And so it was very selective. It was very they went after women who really didn't live under a man's control.
Oh, all the single ladies.
Which is also why it's becoming a lot more popular now, and it also got a big boost in the 1970s because of women empowerment movements.
Yeah.
A lot of time they do gravitate towards the more Wiccan ideologies, the more witch-type ideologies, because they do promote women being just as strong, if not more necessary, than men on the planet.
Okay.
And much more connected to like the Mother Earth and things like that.
So like true satanic Bible stuff.
Well, so that's the interesting thing, right? Is that by like the end of the 16th century was when they started to actually kind of like correlate those two and be like, oh, they are demonic and they're selling themselves to Satan for demonic powers. Like that was all hearsay.
Yeah.
All of it is hearsay. And the crazy thing is that so there was like there's a time that meteorologists considered the Little Ice Age in the middle of the 1500s. They went to like almost the end of the 1500s, so almost like a couple hundred years of these insane swings of like Arctic winters and like brutally hot summers causing a lot of floods and glacial moving. And so people blamed that on witches.
Of course.
They're like, oh, my crops haven't come in because it's too hot of a summer. It was too cold of a winter.
Fucking witches, dude.
It's the witches having their way because they were mad that we went after this woman. So let's take out the rest of them and then we'll get rid of all of it. Like,
yeah, that'll fix it.
Exactly.
Too much sex going on. I'm not getting anything. And my crop's broke. What the fuck?
But so that was a lot of the reason for a lot of the witchcraft blaming, and also the plague.
Oh,
the plague was around the same time, and so they claimed that certain people brought the plague or cursed the town with the plague, and they would try and blame a specific person so that they could feel that they got their comeuppance, that these people gave them justice.
Really, it was the Chinese. So.
Now, so there's a lot of it in folklore, but a lot of folklore is also used to just be kind of like teaching tools for children, like in Germany, in Scotland and Ireland, a lot of the folklore about these things called river dogs that they live in different rivers, and they would, if like children were out at night near the river, they would like jump up, grab them, and bring them in.
Yeah.
And that was just a lot of these fairy tales and a lot of these things about like children getting eaten by so-and-so over here is like just trying to scare the kids enough to make them not hang out by the river in the middle of the night when there could be a random swell of water that could wash them away.
Oh, I thought you were going to say alligators.
No,
alligators
not in
come
Scotland.
And snapping.
But
you never know. Like there was snakes and.
But that's the thing is like a lot of it was just kind of like trying to warn people, and so to warn them, they used fear, and the best way to scare someone is to give them an image they can have in their mind.
Yeah.
By telling a very good story. So
old women on broomsticks.
In that case, I would like to tell you about two specific witches of America.
Okay, all right. We're getting to America now. We're just in Scotland or Ireland or something, but we're flying through this.
Now, I don't want to really even touch on the Salem witch trials because there's no notable witches that came from it.
There's that one dude.
There's a lot of reasons that people believe the Salem witch trials happened. Like, there's literally 7 different reasons. One of them including like tainted water, another one including famine. There's a lot.
We only did 2. 5 more.
I was giving you examples. I'm not giving you the list.
I want to know the list.
I'm not giving you the list.
This is the top 7 reasons why the Salem witch trial actually happened. Number 3.
Michael Johnson's mother was a whore.
Whoa. Jesus Christ.
What? Sorry, that was number 3. I was reading the list.
That one would make you sad.
It wasn't you. You're not the first Michael Johnson in history.
That's true.
Did you think you were?
I know that I'm the second one because the first one's a runner.
Yeah, exactly. and his mother was a whore.
Wow.
Which is what started the entire Salem witch trials, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to offend you by proxy, Mr. Everyone with my name is me.
Yeah, I think like that's why he just runs so fast. He's just constantly trying to run away from his mom being a whore and causing the Salem witch trial.
And that knowledge.
Yeah. He's
Can't
like,
run
I
away
just
from knowledge.
I just have to run.
If my feet don't stop moving, they can't catch me. So one of them, because we do record in Chicago.
Oh wow, is there one in Chicago?
No, it's really close. It is rather close. It's called the Chesterville Witch.
Oh.
And now this is a pretty classic American witch story.
Okay.
So Chesterville is such a small town that's not even listed on maps anymore.
Wow.
It's part of the Amish country in the middle of Illinois. And right outside their little electricity-free zone, you can find their cemetery. And in the cemetery lies a grave that has on it Chesterville Witch.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
What's her name?
No one remembers.
Oh.
So she was an outspoken young woman who really pushed against the religion that was forced upon her and the way of life of being Amish.
Wait, so she's outspoken. They have like the whole story, but they don't have her name.
Yeah, she was banished by the church.
Oh.
And then after that, she was banished because when they banish you from the church, you have to leave the town.
Oh, what the fuck?
So then
I like the town.
rumors spread that she became a servant of the devil.
Yeah.
And that she had become a witch.
Yeah.
And that she was cursing people.
Yeah.
And they actually, a good amount of months after that, they found her body in a farmer's field, which, as you and I discussed earlier, I don't think there was any foul play involved, honestly, mainly because
it's farmer's field. What's going on with this farmer? Why'd he put her body in a field?
she was banished in like a nightgown with no shoes in the middle of like
Just saying.
the summer. As soon as it turns to winter, she's done, you know?
Just saying.
But so no one could remember her name. So they just buried her as the witch.
I think people are just being dicks. I can remember names from like 20 years ago.
So they buried her and they planted a tree on the grave.
Oh, what the fuck?
And the tree was placed there to be a trap so that her spirit could not escape that kind of cell that the roots of the tree make.
Yeah.
And so they were worried that if the tree was ever cut down, her soul would escape and seek revenge. And so they actually put like
fucking this woman in life and death. What
they
the fuck?
they put a fence around it so people can't get near the tree. But you know, a lot of people say, and a lot of passersby to this day will say that when they go past the cemetery at certain times, they see a young woman standing on the grave in front of the tree.
Oh.
And like there are other people surrounding her sometimes, and other times there's just her, and like there's a lot of quotes and notations of her being spotted, which is pretty cool to me.
Yeah, maybe she was doing a show though, or something.
She could have been. Maybe she was entertaining and having a tea time. People keep interrupting.
Yeah, or maybe, just maybe, I'm just saying this. Maybe it's just a bunch of weirdos on Instagram saying like, "Oh, let me go take a picture with the Wiccan on the witch. I'm a Wiccan on the witch. She got murdered because of her beliefs."
All right, so let's talk about arguably the most famous witch in all of America.
Wait, we're done with the chestnut?
Yeah, there's not much on her. That literally that entire story is the majority of stories of like, if there's a small town with a witch, that is basically the story. It was a woman who was very outspoken, got excommunicated, died, no one remembered who she was, and so they were like, oh, she's a witch, and they blame her for all of the town's troubles for the next ever.
Okay, that was the same story for the White Witch of Nugget Town, Nebraska. And
that's Nugget,
right? And also the witch of Louisville, Massachusetts.
Yeah, there is no Louisville, Massachusetts, but
not anymore. It was on the map. We can't find it. Like Chesternut, not on the map anymore. It's not on GPS.
It's just gone. It's just a lost city.
You need a horse, buggy, and carriage to find it, because
and you go through a special little garden wall, and you're inside their little community.
Okay, this isn't the fucking Chronicles of Narnia. Okay.
All right, let's talk about the Bell Witch then. So
Bell Witch.
One's called the Bell Witch.
Taco Bell Witch, baby.
Now this this took place in a sleepy little town called Adams.
Okay, Adams. All right.
Now, Adams is just north of Nashville, and it gained fame by a haunting that took place in the 1700s.
Okay.
Now, the spirit or the witch still haunts the descendants to this day.
Nashville, Tennessee. No, Adams, Tennessee.
In Adams, yeah.
Well, I ain't never heard a damn thing.
Now, the reason that I say spirit is because the Bell family themselves actually never called it a witch.
Oh.
All of the neighbors started proclaiming it as the Bell Witch, but the Bell family called it the voice or the spirit or the entity.
That sounds like Amityville Horror.
And because the thing is that the strange thing about it is that it would speak to them, and like everyone could hear the voice.
Oh, what did it say?
Well, the first time when they asked, "What are you? Who are you?" it responded saying, "I am a spirit, and I have been disturbed. I have been here for millions of years."
All right, okay, buddy.
Now, one of John Bell. So John Bell and his daughter Betsy were the ones who were primarily attacked by the spirit, and this all started. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I said 1700s. It's actually 1817 is when they started being attacked by the spirit.
Because I was about to say
1817.
I don't think anyone lived here at 1700s. Well, people did live here, but
yeah, but not ones that we have history of. Yeah,
not white people.
And so primarily with John started to have very bad health issues. There were times where he would go to put on his shoes, and his shoes would his left shoe would be on, he was put on his right one, and the left one would fly off his foot and across the room.
Maybe he was drunk.
And then when he would go to get it, it would fly across the rest of the room,
Maybe his shoe's drunk.
And then also Betsy would be pinched and slapped and have her hair torn out or have her hair tied around a bedpost in the middle of the night.
Oh my God. Maybe she was just into some kinky shit.
And when visitors would come to see what all the hubbub was about,
yeah,
they would experience very similar things to John and Betsy.
Their shoes were flying around?
No, they would get attacked in the middle of the night. Their covers would get pulled off, or something would punch them. It's crazy.
You don't think Betsy was just maybe she was just a little crazy, just going around punching people in the middle of the night?
No.
Oh, okay.
So the spirit would show up as either a wolf,
okay,
or sometimes it was a turkey.
If you would have said a pig with red eyes, I would have shit my pants.
Sometimes it was a little girl on a swing who, when you would approach her, she would disappear.
It's like a cheesy a shitty horror movie from the 2000s.
Well, this story is it basically is Amityville Horror, Exorcism of Emily Rose, kind of the shit that happened to them is perfect for Hollywood. That's why there's about 8 separate movies about this exact witch.
Oh, there's a Bell Witch horror movie?
There's a bunch.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I've never heard these.
One of John Bell's sons actually was serving in the Army with Andrew Jackson.
Thank you for your service.
And so he told Andrew Jackson about the fact that he was haunted as a child and their house is still haunted. And Andrew Jackson was like, all right, let's see it. And so they went for a weekend at the farm. And now while Andrew Jackson was not personally attacked, he saw what it did to those around him and was quoted saying, quote, "I would rather face the whole of the British Army than face the Bell Witch again."
Wow.
Yeah. So this thing was fucking malevolent.
So then that's why we have Revolutionary War Part 2. Bell Witch is on our side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So John actually eventually, when I was hearing his symptoms, it sounded kind of like lockjaw.
Okay.
Because basically he wouldn't be able to speak, and it kind of looked as though somebody put a bar in his mouth so he couldn't open or close his mouth, and he just kind of got stuck like that. And that would happen on and off for about 2 or 3 years until December 19th, 1820. John got very sick, and the doctor was called, and he died.
Oh.
Well, he was about to die. The doctor said it was poison. And so the doctor with the police turned around and was questioned the family and was who done it, you know?
Yeah, who did it?
And all of the people in the house, there are actually 3 separate accounts by 3 separate professionals that said that they all heard a voice, that exact voice, the voice of the spirit say, I killed old John. I fixed his medicine last night to give him a good dose of it, and he will never leave that bed.
Oh, my God.
And the next day, John was dead.
Wait, so maybe it was just like a record player.
I shit you not. John Bell is one of the only people in the entirety of the world where on his death certificate
it says ghost of witch.
I had it on here. Something. It was death by spirit. That's it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's one of the only people that have death by spirit.
That's embarrassing.
An actual cause of death.
We need some forensic scientists. We need CSI Witch on this. CSI Wiccan.
So
next season.
There are other accounts of the witch from the children, from the Bell children's friends.
Okay.
Who would come over, because initially when the story started leaking about this spirit, it was labeled as the Bell Angel.
Oh,
and then
the angel murders somebody. They're like, that's not a murder. That's not an angel.
There's a handwritten note from one of the young son's friends to his mother after staying there for one night.
Yeah.
And he said, "Mother, this is no angel. It is a demon."
Mother, this is no angel.
It's a demon. It's a demon from hell.
However, a lot of other instances with spirits and witches happen to be found in these. It's a very cavernous region of Tennessee, so there's a lot of caves.
Oh, so you think there's a guy like underneath, like,
no,
I'm the spirit.
No, there's a lot of people encounter like that exact witch and other spirits in the caves of that region.
Oh man, don't go in these caves.
Well, because the most popular cave was actually on the Bell family farm, and the children and the dad, John Bell, used to play in there. And there's letters of them remarking how it felt like some kind of a thing was chasing them while they were in there. And now, to be honest, they do warn people who go down there, like, be careful. Not really exactly because of malevolent spirits and witches, but because a lot of people are like, oh, let me go down this little path. And they turn a hard right and they end up in, like, a wolf den. You know, and there's like 4 wolves in there.
Oh my God! And they could be spirits from the house.
A lot of people get killed by animals accidentally down there. But so the still to this day, the living descendants of John Bell have had actual scares at their own home.
Yeah.
So the one grandson that I was watching interviews of, he was at his house and he heard his front door fly open and slam closed, which it was locked with like a bar.
Oh shit.
And then he heard loud footsteps in his hallway that stopped right in front of his room.
Oh my God.
And so he thought someone was in the house.
So he got the gun.
Yeah, he did. He grabbed his .22
and he shot himself in the head.
No, he went around the house. He said it in the thing. He went around the house SWAT team style, checking every nook and cranny.
Yeah.
And it took him a while because there's 2 staircases, and he went throughout every inch of the house, and there was no one there.
Have you ever done this?
Well, I had a run-in with a ghost once, and I did a very similar thing where I checked the entire house, and there's not a single person, even though I heard distinct opening and closing of doors, footsteps on the stairwell, footsteps in the hallway, you know, and like the hair on your neck is raising.
Yeah, I have an attic at my place. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there's like an upstairs area to it. And like me and my roommate were just hanging out one day, and then we heard some like footsteps upstairs or something, like some commotion upstairs in the attic, and we're like, what the fuck's going on here? What's going on? So he grabs like a giant knife. I grab a giant knife, and we're like going upstairs to murder whoever's up there.
Of course.
It was nobody.
Yeah.
It was a ghost. Maybe. Or a witch. Or maybe an entity.
Or a creaking pipe. But whatever.
There's no pipes in the... Who's putting pipes in the attic?
Either way. So, now the really crazy one, I actually grabbed the quote from this. I went back and it took me so long because it's a video, so I had to write down his quote as he was saying it.
Oh. You do some transcribing.
But this is the craziest story. So he said, one evening I got my dad and I got a call from my grandma who had a fright. We went over and she was still clutching the phone. You could see the fear in her eyes because she hadn't even moved from the spot. Now she was upstairs and had heard a huge crash, and she came down and all of her china was on the kitchen floor. Now her china was in the butler's pantry inside a locked china cabinet. So it had to have opened the cabinet, locked cabinet doors, and it looked like it had been thrown on the floor, but it wound up in the next room over. And the craziest thing is that none of the china was broken. It was all just scattered all over the floor. Every last piece of china. And this is bone china. Not a single piece broken. Now that is crazy to me. Because literally, if you think of the layout of the house, like, so there's the big ass kitchen, and then you go down a little hallway, and on the right, with a separating wall, is that butler's pantry, which is where the china was. It was as if the witch, because the grandma still lived in the house that was haunted by the witch. She lived in the original house when this happened.
Yeah.
It's as if the witch had gone in through the cabinet, grabbed all the china, turned around, walked through the wall, and just thrown it in the kitchen. Because she's a spirit, it just kind of laid there. It didn't actually have any force
Maybe she
behind
sunk
it.
into the floor.
It's just, it's crazy.
Or maybe there's a neighbor kid broke in, started playing with all of her fucking china. She's like, wait, that's from China. Can't just get that.
So this is actually, the Bell House is the most studied haunted house in all of America. It's been detailed in over 20 books. And the best, really considered the Bible of the Bell Witch, is by a man named Marvin Ingram.
Okay, Marvin.
Now, Marvin went to the region about 15, 20 years after this whole thing happened.
Yeah.
And interviewed a lot of people who not only knew the Bells, they were good friends with the children of the Bells. So he was about one generation removed from the exact incident. He also got his hands on Betsy's younger brother. So Betsy was the one who was tormented. Mm-hmm. Her younger brother wrote a diary called The Troubles of My Family that he gave to his son, and his son eventually gave to Ingram, which detailed all of the occurrences. And now it talks about how the occurrences came around. They started when these animals and other strange-looking beings and strange-looking animals kept coming to the farm in around 1817.
Almost like Skinwalker Ranch.
Now, John Bell would see them coming and run out and shoot them with his gun.
Yeah.
And either the bullets would just go through them and have no effect, or he would miss and they would just kind of walk off, not really that dazed. But later, the witch would actually kill John for most likely those disturbances. Now, recently, very recently, the two remaining descendants of John Bell, they got together and they wrote a book about kind of a more honest and realistic view of what could have happened to the Bell family.
All right, finally some skepticism.
Well, because it's really weird, right? So the Bells, so John Bell, I guess, was from a different part of Tennessee, and he actually had farmland, and he had a lot of farmland. He was growing tobacco, and he had moved there from Massachusetts because his church, the John River Baptist Church, moved to that town, and he went, like, all of their people went with them.
Yeah, because that's what happens.
He later was actually kicked out and excommunicated from the Baptist Church, which I didn't know. I didn't know Baptists excommunicated, but I guess they do. For usury.
This is doing drugs.
Usury is actually the lending of money with interest, which is why back in Venice, like, Jews had to be the bankers because Christians couldn't commit usury and Jews could.
That's crazy.
Which is literally lending money with interest.
Yeah.
But people don't know,
everything.
They don't know what he was in trouble for usury for. They don't know if it could have been, really, it could have been loaning money. It could have been selling slaves. It could have been a couple different things. But because of that excommunication, that's when he moved his family from his very successful farming operation to this farm where all the trouble happened.
Yeah.
And now the spirit or the witch would refer to herself as Kate Batts.
Oh.
Now, Kate Batts was the woman who John Bell had bought the land from.
Okay. Where was she?
She lived in a different town. And that's the biggest issue with people believing that it's actually Kate Batts like fucking with them, is that she was alive at the same time.
But maybe she was
and
a witch.
she was in a different town, and there's multiple accounts from her saying how like there was never any bad blood between them. She really was happy with the sale. She never would have wished any ill upon them.
That's a perfect cover, though. That's what you want to say. Like, you don't want to be like, yeah, I fucking hated him. But you want to say, just like a lawyer will never tell you that you're going to lose a case, you know?
I guess.
I think she was doing some transportation, like we were talking about a few episodes ago, doing some teleportation, projecting her mind over there and just like, I'm a witch. I'm going to kill you, John.
Maybe.
I hate you.
But
the
nice thing is that they actually in the town of Adams there's a rendition of the Bell Curse that is a play, and they put it on every year. And their attendances started to skyrocket recently, but
okay, maybe we'll go. We'll have to check it out next time
we'll do it. We'll do a little tour. We'll stop off and look at all the Mothman stuff in Ohio, and then we'll travel south and look at Bell Farms, and then we'll do a nice little jaunt through the woods.
We'll do some acid, do some MK Ultra studies.
Hell yeah. But so that was our little I guess we'll call it a shallow dive into witchcraft.
Oh, you already done with Dan Bell?
I'm done with the bells. I mean, did you have any questions that I can answer for you?
I don't know. I thought there was more to the story.
That was the whole story. Is that
you started talking about the two skeptical, the most recent family members?
Yeah. Well, they think that it was really just like it was a kind of a. So they got excommunicated from the church, which tarnished their name, making them have to move, which already put the family in a lot of stress.
Okay.
They're then in a new region, and they are now the outsiders in that region from the town. So obviously rumors will swell because they most likely kept to themselves.
Yeah.
And then they started having all these hauntings, and John Bell's health got worse. Could have been from stress from the excommunication and the loss of a great business and not really knowing what to do with his life and support his family. There's a lot of explanation through that, but
what about the voice, though?
That was one of the things that no one could ever really explain.
Oh.
No one can ever... There's a lot of aspects of it that can never be explained, which is why it's still to this day the most studied haunting in America, is because there's so many aspects of it that still really confound experts to this day. Like, why Betsy? He had like 3 or 4 children. Why this one? There's no real reason for it. And there's a lot of
around, yeah.
And then when the visitors would come, the same thing would happen to them. And so there was a lot. There's a lot to dig into, but there's not enough physical text that isn't specifically picked to purport the existence of the Bell Witch to really dig into the true depth of the facts of it, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess like you said, we're dipping the toe a little bit into witchcraft, a few stories, nothing that wild.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if we see some positive response, we'll do a deeper dive into witchcraft. I can talk about the Wiccans and the rituals and the ties in with Satanism, and we'll talk about the Satanism and all that stuff. So
torture stuff, right? Like the guy with the rocks.
Yeah, like the torture stuff.
Weight.
Yeah. But honestly, thanks for tuning in to Wild Wasteland. This has been a fantastic little fun little jaunt through pretty good vast amount of history.
Yeah, we went through a lot.
Yeah, but remember, everyone, witches are still active to this day. So as always, stay vigilant and stay wild. And please tune in next Wednesday to catch the next Wild Wasteland podcast.
Yeah, Wasteland Wednesday. Yeah.
That's right. It's a Wild Wednesday, and we love you.
Go fuck yourself.
God damn it, every time.